Hey, welcome to the Rain and Morale podcast. So do you ever feel like screaming out in the office, on Zoom or outside the school gates, for the love of God, come on, really? Then if this is you and you're looking for an honest, fun and frank podcast on life and business, then sit back and listen to me, Rain and Morale. I'll be bringing great people on the show to talk, share and debate their life experiences and business challenges, keeping the show unpolished, but in a fun and unique British style, with sarcasm, tenacity, maybe a few swear words or tears. This podcast keeps it real, honest, raw, and removes the bullshit in the only way I know how, through authenticity and getting shit done. Think of it less like the Housewives of New York or Towie with the lipo and drama, and more like the house lives of the real world. I hope you'll take something away to be better informed, laugh, smile, or maybe even finally getting the confidence to shout, come on really. So enjoy. Hi Rob, welcome back to the Rain and Morale podcast. How are you?
Thank you, Rona. Very well. I'm in a sunny South Africa, sunny Cape Town. How can I complain?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm in a misty England right now. It's quite cold today. Well, Rob, welcome back to the show. You really don't need much of an introduction. I affectionately know you as the Chief. You have an incredible, of course, background. I know you through Smutby, The Lion Cage, but recently for a new South Africa. And that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today. So for the listeners, we're going to really discuss about how this came about, how it benefits communities, and actually what is a DAO, a DAU, because it's not so simple for a lot of people. So we're going to try and make that as real as possible. So welcome back, Rob.
Thank you.
Do you want to dive straight into talking about what is a new South Africa?
So about 14 months ago, I made a speech at a business conference. BizNews had a conference in the Drakensberg in South Africa, asked me to speak on the investability of South Africa. And I stood up and I made a very punchy speech. And there were 100 people in the room because of COVID. There were 50 in one, 50 in another, and a sort of fake separation between the two. 100 people, but I went, boom. And when they released it 2 weeks later, it went viral, like nothing in South Africa. It went absolutely mad. I think 360,000 views, but that didn't include, all the other platforms. And I got death threats. I got praise. I got people coming up to me on the street, hugging me, taking selfies. And that wasn't my life. I didn't intend for that to happen. I was never going to be in politics. I was happy as a business person, but, I've always been opinionated or outspoken or arrogant or whatever, but people think of me good and bad. And, I try to rein the whole thing in and control it, but the horse had bolted. And I became this kind of spokesperson for the people who haven't had a voice or had too scared to have a voice. And, after it had done damage to certain businesses and I lost friends and, whatever, I realized that I had a massive following unintentionally. Yeah. And I thought, what the hell? I'm in, I might as well put my foot down. So I started to make more and more speeches about how the ANC is destroying South Africa, how the country is a failed state heading towards a mafia state, and that it was despicable that good people weren't standing up and calling out the ANC and calling for a change in government.
Yeah.
Slowly people have emerged with a bit more courage, but it's taken a long time. So basically, I went, on different podcasts like yours and told the truth, just said this government is a disgrace, calling them out by name. And more recently, people have said to me, listen, you have an enormous following in South Africa, but continually criticizing the ANC or calling for a coalition government to win in 2024 is going to be repeat after repeat. So, you really need to move to a solution. And my original solution was to form a super PAC, a political action committee like in America, fund it. And then I realized there's not going to make any real difference. People are still going to give money to political parties, and it's more of the same. And then it hit me. It hit me. My knowledge of blockchain and crypto and NFTs and DAOs was at 30,000 feet. But I had enough information to conceptualize a new idea. And the new idea hit me like a silver bullet. And so I wrote down my thoughts, presented to some friends who went, this is it. This is the answer. And it's newsouthafrica.org.
Yeah.
And if your viewers go to newsouthafrica.org, you don't have to be South African.
No.
You can, or someone abroad or friends of South Africa, and sign up. Okay. You can sign up for the movement and for Discord. I'll talk about that in a second.
Please.
But my father said to me, when I explained it to him, he said, I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't know what blockchain is. So
yeah,
even though a lot of your viewers will know, I'll give the simplest description, the bit that I understand. So all the blockchain is an underlying technology. And it's basically a permanent record recorded on distributed ledgers. Until now, we've always had one ledger, even, you know, if it was a paper ledger or a PwC one or a digital one, you'd have one single ledger that had income, loss, assets, liabilities, or I sold something to you, you got the goods, paid me the money, here the date, signed for it. That's a ledger. That's all a ledger is. But this is a digital distributed ledger, which means millions of computers around the world verify the purchase sale between us. And it's irreversible, irrevocable, irrefutable. It's a permanent little block that goes, I sold something to you. And then the next block is you bought it from me. And the next block is you sold it to someone else. And there are millions of these blockchains confirming things, fully accountable, fully transparent, and irreversible. It's a permanent
so anyone
record.
Effectively, that's a key point there about transparency. So anyone can look back on who did what and when.
With whom. It's brilliant. So what? Okay. If you just have a blockchain, so what? But there are three manifestations of the blockchain that people know about. There are many, many more being developed and many coming. The first is crypto. We've all heard of Bitcoin and Ethereum, but that couldn't exist without a blockchain. The blockchain, remember, is down here, the underlying technology. So if I send you some Bitcoins, you're going to never touch them or feel them, and they're in the crypto world, okay? But you have to have a permanent record somewhere, and that's records on the blockchain, okay? So crypto couldn't exist without the blockchain. NFTs, which a lot of people can't still get their heads around, non-fungible tokens, which is like a piece of digital art. Now, if you created that piece of digital art and I copied it, who's to know who created it? Unless it's on the blockchain, that piece of digital art has a digital certificate that proves you created it.
So it drives authenticity.
Exactly, and provenance and countenance and everything. Exactly. So you've got blockchain, crypto, NFTs, and then this new thing called a DAO, D-A-O, decentralized autonomous organization. It's like having a company with 1,000 people who've never met each other, never will meet each other, but everybody knows what they're meant to do under certain circumstances, and it's automated and on the blockchain. So I sell a widget for Widget Corporation. You know, we have an automated sales manager, but you're the marketing director. I have never met you, never will meet you, and may never speak to you, but you know I sold a widget for Widget Corp and I get paid my commission and off we go. It's an automated organization, decentralized. So, and it couldn't operate without blockchain. So there I am sitting there going, we could create a new country, a new tribe, a new nation, a new membership network that doesn't have a territory, and where the members may never meet one another or may not care who the other members are, if we all have a trusted organization based on the same values and principles. Now, this is important. So I've been writing up the 15 principles that I think define the way I see the world, and Rhoda, the way you see it. And I got a lot of other people to help co-author it.
Yeah.
And if you go to newsouthafrica.org, have a look at the 15 principles. That's really the first thing everyone should do. Because if you go, wow, all 15 are me, you should join. But if you say the following 2 or 3 I don't like, or you're up to something illegal or corrupt, then you really shouldn't join, because the blockchain sees all. So these 15 principles define the new South Africa, and they are free market, democracy, capitalism, merit-based decisions, non-racialism. You know, any decent person that we know would actually agree with all 15. And if you took the American Constitution, the South African Constitution, the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, Stoicism, and smashed them all together without mentioning God, you would have the 15 principles. Your bottom line is that's what it is.
Yeah.
And
so
we started with 15 principles.
Yeah.
People joined. And what we hope to build is a new South Africa that delivers governance without government.
Okay. So, yeah, that's a massive statement. No. That's a massive statement. And actually something that I massively believe in is systems change. Because like you said earlier, doing the same thing, funding the same people, it's not going to change anything. So help me understand how this really changes the system and also the people within it. So is this, how do we get to the people that aren't voting? Why aren't they voting? Do they have access to technology? All that sort of stuff.
So in South Africa, we have a real problem. We have a huge polarization of wealth. We have mass unemployment, and we have a societal issue. Now, if South Africa had an economic issue, we would find business solutions. But it's way worse than that. Nothing's working. It's all falling apart. We have a societal issue. So we have to create a whole new solution. And South Africa is not working. We have to find a way where people working together are involved in decision-making and are involved in service provision, involved in looking after helping the poor, helping people get jobs, helping fellow business people build their businesses. You know, we need to be making the right decisions as a community. And the beauty about a DAO is it's a referendum-based organization. So there is no leader, there's no management team, no one's more important than anyone else, okay? Everyone gets one vote. And as long as you are signed up to the 15 principles and they adhere to them, you would expect that the right decisions will get made because these are the right, similar kind of people. Yeah. So an example, I mean, you can run wild on these. We have, when you go on the website, there's join the movement, click, put in your whatever, but there's join Discord. There's another button.
So what's Discord?
So if you want to just be part of the movement, just sign up normally. But if you actually want to be active, you know, in putting proposals forward, voting on proposals, deciding how governance works, how the treasury works, join Discord. Because Discord is just, it's like another social media connectivity app. It's like WhatsApp, but with a lot more levels.
So it's a bit like Slack. I guess it's a bit like Slack.
It's just like Slack. Bingo, got it. So the first time I ever used Discord was 3 weeks ago. Okay, just so if people think I have all the answers, I don't. All I did was come up with the concept and the 15 principles and then mentioned it on a few podcasts, and volunteers came out of the woodwork and said, this is the answer, I'm joining you. So we've got a team of 15 people working for free right now. I mean, we'll have to fund that at some point. And we're not on the blockchain yet. We're putting all the governance and treasury decisions together, but you can be part of that. People can be involved. And we got an interesting call from this guy, Joel Smalley from London. He said, Rob, I've just suddenly noticed what you're doing, and it's brilliant because I want to do the same thing for Zanzibar. Right. Okay, so it's not like I've come up with an original idea. There's a book called The Nation State, which will blow your mind if you read it.
Right.
And it's this idea. So we're building a new South Africa because we have to.
Mm-hmm.
And the projects that we launch will aim to get the ANC out in 2024 and a coalition of the good in 2024, because we are a democracy in South Africa and we have to vote. But we can get a hell of a lot of things done the government isn't doing and people can't do because they can't pull together and do it.
And so what are the sort of some of the stats around the number of people voting in South Africa, or not voting, should I say?
Great question. In the 2019 national election, 55% of South Africans didn't even vote. Qualified voters, registered voters.
Yeah.
Because most of them just said, oh, it's pointless. We'll never get the ANC out. Or I don't pay, I live in a township, I don't pay tax. I build my own businesses. I get no services from the government. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
People are actually depressed, disappointed, don't know what to do, or don't understand how important a vote is. And that's one project we'd like to do through the DAO, is voter education, create comic books for the rural areas, explaining your vote matters, vote for change.
I was going to say that because 55% of a population is huge, and when you break that down into where those people are, how are you going to try and educate those people? And if they haven't got access to tech, could that be a major blocker? And how are you going to help that?
So they probably won't, between now and 2024, have access to a smartphone, tech, or fiber backbone. But we don't need everyone to be a member of the DAO, the New South Africa. But the New South Africa can fund and execute on projects to achieve the goal that we want to achieve. So the comic books into the townships or the home settlements to explain issues like how an economy works, why capitalism works and communism doesn't.
Right.
Let's get the ANC out because they're destroying the country. Let's make sure people understand their vote matters, and then say, please vote and vote for change. We're not going to push any political parties, but I think vote for change says it all. And we can do this without touching the Electoral Act or threatening any legal issues. It's 100% legal.
And so when you say vote for change, what are they voting for? Are they voting for this DAO and this community of people to run the country? What are they voting for?
No, that we can't get out of a democracy. We're in the democracy. So we will have an election, but vote for change does mean vote for the Democratic Alliance, the Action SA. You're
not necessarily proposing who they should vote for. It's
Correct.
Just vote for change. Okay.
But the subtle side of this is that we will support programs or initiate programs that the good guys will get credit for or will enhance the good guys' position. But let me give you some mad ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to fund this, and let's say we're now at 14,000 signups in less than 3 weeks, which is unheard of for something no one really understands yet.
Yeah.
Let's say we go from that to 80,000 or to 800,000. There are only 800,000 taxpayers in South Africa out of 60 million, of which 100,000 pay 90% of the taxes. Our tax base is tiny. Okay. We think we'll get to all the taxpayers as members. Are you following me? Starting to think by the time before the election. That's the economic powerhouse of South Africa. And if we all decide on a referendum basis that we're not going to pay tax, or that we're going to put the money we would have sent to the government, which gets stolen, into projects like education or infrastructure directly, instead of going through the government where it gets stolen, what do you think? Now, this is hypothetical. I can't influence anything. You know, I'm just one voter out of 14,000. But if you have like-minded people, you would think they'd come up with the same. Are you following me? We could also.
I do, and I think there's the ballsy part of me that loves and wants and desires for systems change globally, especially when it comes to economic and political power. And so what's exciting about that potential, or that kind of vision, is that you can build a South Africa that effectively, there's equal rights to education, there's better infrastructure. So all of these things will benefit the masses rather than that small percentage.
100% right. The other great power of this is that we obviously have to fund it. We have a treasury, and the funding can come from members, some of whom are wealthy, some of whom are not. It can come from people that have a look at specific projects that have been voted for and say, this one resonates. I'm going to put up a big chunk of money into that.
Yeah.
We can go to companies that in the past have been terrified of standing up and saying, we need to vote the ANC out. You should vote for the DA. They're very scared of doing that. But companies could come in and fund projects and get the benefit of that.
Right.
And we don't have to just have South Africans as members or raise money from South Africans here or abroad. Friends of South Africa or people that just believe in the 15 principles can join and fund.
So I was going to ask you that. So obviously I've been on the website and I have read the principles, I've joined, I'm on Discord. How do you feel, or what do you say to people who say, well, you don't live in the country, you don't understand the challenges here, and what right do you have to have a vote in that? How would you respond to that?
Well, you're not voting in an election. You're just voting for what great projects can do good in South Africa. That's it. It's a not-for-profit. NewSouthAfrica.org is not for profit. I mean, we'll have to pay salaries and certain costs and things like that, which will fund through the treasury, but it's not for profit. But my big idea, you hear it here first, is for the learnings of New South Africa. I have an idea for a global international version, but that might be for profit. So be with me from the beginning, or be with us from the beginning.
If you can nail something like this and, you know, get the members, prove the concept, create positive systems change, then suddenly I can imagine there'd be a lot of countries and areas shitting a brick, if I'm honest, because effectively you're then taking the power out of people that, I mean, we, from an outsider looking in, we often look at Africa as the continent and South Africa as a place not to invest because of corruption, because of ethics, etc. And yet I'm super passionate about Africa. You know, it could feed the world. It is a beautiful continent with a richness of people and resources. So something like that, like kudos for you raising the head up and putting it up. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of people watching this, and I'm assuming the ANC, are they aware of it yet?
Who knows? All they're doing is breaking and stealing. As long as people don't touch them while they steal, they don't care about anything else. But the governments in general are very scared of blockchain. And here's why. You can't hide. You can't hide a thing. So for the non-corrupt countries like Singapore, Rwanda, which is in Africa, and others, you know, they will probably adopt the blockchain. And the UAE will probably adopt the blockchain very quickly because, you know, if you're happy to be transparent about everything, accountable to everything, and everybody votes on every issue if they're interested, it's like referendum. There's 2 or 3 votes a day. You get up for breakfast. I mean, this is hypothetical. And these are the 4 things you can vote on. And off you go. That's pure democracy. Governments don't like that because they're hiding stuff.
Yeah, and I think one of the 2 key words there for me in terms of all of this is transparency and accountability. And it's something I'm very, very passionate about and get extremely annoyed about, because you can see it in black and white in front of your face. I'm being lied to. You're not being honest. You're not being transparent. Stuff's going on. And yes, I understand in the wider global vision, there's things like security and other things that not everyone's meant to know everything. I get that. But from somebody representing their country and the people, they're just not in so many cases.
I mean, it's quite depressing because a lot of people have just
Sorry.
kind of given up. No, you're right. People have given up in South Africa. They said, we can't affect change. We can't make a difference. We're depressed. We're leaving, the kids are leaving the country. I mean, the wheels are coming off this country. But suddenly there's this idea we can actually pull together and make a major difference. I mean, we're 3 weeks old and it's going through the roof. So, and it's thanks to being able to be on podcasts like yours to tell people about it and then have them sign up. And the beauty of it all is most people don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But here's a chance to learn. Sign up for the movement, come onto Discord and just fiddle around and watch and listen and read. My learning curve is like this.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And listen, Rob, I think, the best thing for people to do now is, be excited about what a future vision could be, not only for a new South Africa, but I think globally, the benefits of how we can use blockchain, how we can create systems change. So thank you for putting your head above the parapet and, getting that silver bullet in your head. I'm very intrigued to follow this and see what happens. So thank you so much. Again, newsouthafrica.org. Check out the 15 principles. I know I have done myself. So thank you so much, Rob, for coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks again, Miranda. Thank you.
So that's it. You've made it. The show's over. Thank you for being with us. I hope you've been able to take something away, maybe solve a problem, or just know you're not alone. Here's hoping it made you smile with a few laughs along the way. Please feel free to find me on all social media channels, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just search the Road and Morale podcast. Have an awesome day and see you next time.